G'day guys. Okay, we are, oh dear, sorry, that was an alarm going off. Okay, so today's layout, this is one of my new 12x12 stencils that I picked up from Amazon. I really like these mandalas and stuff, and they were quite cheap. I did make the mistake of buying 2 sets though, but anyway, now all I'm doing to start off with is I have sprayed the back of this stencil with my tacky adhesive, and that's why I'm not having to hold it down. I just put through, that's the stencil. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, they're so nice. And they're thick and they're sturdy, and I'm going to get heaps of use out of these, which is going to be fantastic. So I'm just cleaning the texture paste off really quickly though, because if you don't get that stuff off, guess what? You wreck your stencil. So I have gone through and I've just put down some Crafters Workshop light and fluffy modelling paste. I just put it through just plain white, straight on, white on white. Now I have not put, here's my mistake for the video, it's right up front and it's in your face. So I did not put down any gesso, so I did not protect this, and it is not Vicky Bouton foundations paper. So guess what? The effect I want to make and I start to do, I realized very, very quickly I stuffed up. Because, can you see, it's just soaking straight in. So I picked 4 different colors. Stick with me because I think this looks okay in the end. But I do have a couple of things to teach you along the way that, yeah. First things first, if you want this to flow and blend together, you need to have gesso underneath your texture paste, okay? It's just that simple. See how difficult it is for me to try and get these to blend on any level? It's just impossible. Now, I've picked some really nice colours. I went with KITSCH Flamingo, Worn Lipstick. They're the 2 pinks that I used. And then I went into Twisted Citron and Squeeze Lemonade with a bit of Mowed Lawn. So they were all really bright colours and happy colours and like fully... It looked like it was going to be a lot brighter and blended a lot better. So I go through and I do try a few different things, and the reason I've left this video in here for you guys to see is because anyone who's been here long enough knows that I will put out my videos, warts and all. I don't edit them to the point that I'm cutting out big important chunks. I put these out there for you guys to learn from just as much as myself. So first things first, this would have been a lot easier had I have used, because see what happens if you don't have gesso, see how the liquid, it just absorbs into the paper, and this is the back side of it. Now, a trick that I use all the time, if I'm doing something like this and it's got a lot of liquid in it, turn it over and dry it from the back. If you do that, your paper doesn't warp nearly as much. Now, here's where I thought, maybe I can just put the stencil back on here and I can blend it a little bit easier. Well, the reason that didn't work perfectly, and you'll notice that I end up moving the stencil a little bit, because once the water got into, like in between where the texture paste was, it swelled up. Even though I dried it, it had buckled a little bit, so it wasn't quite... The texture paste wasn't exactly where the stencil was, is what I'm trying to say. So that's number 2. That's the second thing you can learn from this. I persisted with it purely as a learning video, really. That's what this video is for. It took me, I'll be completely honest, it took me a couple of hours with this. And I was just, once I knew it wasn't working, I then decided that I was going to figure out a way of getting it to work. Either 1, can I salvage it? Or 2, can I use it as a learning experience for not only myself but you guys? So this is why I persisted with it. So I pulled out my big brushes and I pulled out some of my smaller brushes, and I thought maybe I can go over the texture paste, and because that's raised up, that might work. So I was giving that a bit of a crack, and it seemed like it was working. It seemed like it was going the direction I wanted it to. But then I still wasn't happy with it. It just wasn't as bright. It just wasn't as bright as I wanted it, how I thought it should turn out. So bear with me. If for no other reason, I was persistent, okay? I don't like to give up on a layout until it's completely 100% just dead and just cannot be and we've all had those layouts, but I want everyone to realize that, you know what, it doesn't, just because I have a YouTube channel, it doesn't mean that everything I put my hand to, it doesn't always work. So I decided before I do anything else with the background, I'm going to place my photo. This is a photo of Jen, and it didn't quite print properly. So you can see down the right hand side, it's a little bit light. So an easy way to fix that is, instead of mounting it on top of, I've cut a slit and I've slipped the photo behind, so it looks like it was meant to be like that. So that's a way you can get around it. If you print your photos at home, that's an easy way to do it. Now, I did check that to see if it was straight, and it actually is, but it was, it's just the mandala in the background. So, believe it or not, it's the one thing that wasn't the problem with the layout. So then I decided, maybe I just need to bring the brushes in. Maybe I need to soften the edges more. Maybe that's the problem. I mean, if you're not laughing with me at this point, you're probably making yourself a coffee and putting a splash of grog in it. Like, to be honest, I wasn't sure this was even going to make it see the light of day. The reason I went with pink and green, because that's what Jen's wearing. So it looks good. Now I'm just going overboard with the lemon and the green, and it's just taken over big time. And I'm still trying to think, how am I going to fix this? I have a post-it note on my fingers so that I'm not removing the ink with my fingerprints. Then I figured, you know what, maybe just a few splits and splats of water, and I'll remove some of the ink. But then I remembered I've probably hydrated the daylights out of this paper at this point. I probably shouldn't be putting, this is my Poppy Crafts 12 by 12 flat white cardstock. I get 10, it's a 10 pack for like $3.99 or something like that usually. And I get that from Crafts Online, and it's quite a sturdy cardstock, so it can hold it. It's not technically prepped or primed with anything, but it does hold I push it to its limit. Okay, I do genuinely, I push it a bit hard, but that's all right. So I've added all my tear tape to the back of this. Now, yes, that's a lot. Even for me, that's a lot of tape. I did that purely to hopefully get the layout to sit flat and not be all warped. Because, again, like I say, I should have put some gesso on there. But that's okay. I'm just using my Teflon bone folder to just wedge it all down. Now, with the black border, I started to go, you know what? I could save this. So I pulled out my LUNAR paste, and I tried my finger first, and then I went, nah, my clunky finger's going to get gold everywhere. That's not going to work. So then I thought, okay, I'm just going to take some out of the container, and I'm just going to paint it on and go all the way around. Spoiler alert. I sat here and I went around the entire layout, all the way around, and it looked really good. And then later on, I'll wait till you get to it. But spoiler alert, yes, I do go all the way around with the Lunar paste. It works beautifully. Yes, I'm using the tiniest little brush. It did take me a little bit of time, but it wasn't too bad. And it came up, it added that bit of metallic, and it worked. It was working for me. So then I decided, what did I decide then? I can't remember. Okay, so while I'm going through this disaster layout, I'm just going to do a bit of a shameless plug. Anyone who's new to my channel, please don't judge this as my one and only video. If you are watching this and you're going, this chick can't scrap, go and watch one of my other videos, because this is not my normal video that I would put up. Yes, I love mixed media. I love pushing it to the absolute boundaries of where you can push it to. I will push my cardstock. I will do all that sort of thing. I try things that some people just probably haven't even thought about trying. But at the end of the day, if we can't laugh at our failures, and if we can't laugh at ourselves, what's the point? I mean, we do this because we enjoy it. We do this because we love memory keeping, all of those things. I do layouts like this one because sometimes I just need to go into my shell and I just want to be left alone with a couple of products, do something sort of fine detailed. Sometimes I'll go to cutting up papers. Sometimes I will sit with a teeny tiny brush and some Lunar paste and paint the raised up sections. And yeah, probably could have done it easier if I just put the stencil over the top and run over it, but I digress. I got through it. I did that. So then I cleaned off my little bits and pieces that I used, and then I thought, okay, because I've got the black around the background, I have this thing. If I've got a black border, I've got to have black at least 2 other times on the layout for it to be balanced. So I'm going around and I'm just using my, this one is my gel impact pen. And it's a uni ball one and it is fantastic. I love it. Now, yes, I'm about to go round and round the garden again. And it's super, super simple because of the thickness of the texture paste that I put on there. It was really easy to use. It was great. It was perfect. So, and this was not difficult at all. Have any of you ever tried adult colouring? It's kind of therapeutic like that. And see, as I was halfway around, I was thinking, you know what? I think I'm fixing it. I think I'm sorting this out. It's no longer just a big green blob. I'm thinking it's working. So, like I said, stick with me. I think at the end, I think I save it. So, gesso. Now, what is my chosen gesso that I prefer to use? Obviously, any gesso on this page would have helped, but I love the Finnabair clear gesso. That is probably my favourite one out of all of them. I do have a white gesso. I have a white textured gesso, which is a Montmartre one. I also have a glossy, smooth white gesso. That's also a Montmartre brand. The problem I have with that one is it dulls down my colours that I add to the top of it. So if I'm using inks and there's any water involved, here's the spoiler alert, guys. See how I'm going around with this gold pen? I was about here when I realised it's a different gold to the Lunar paste. So I had to go around and I had to fix it. So I save you from having to watch me go around and round and around again but spoiler alert, what I actually did was I used Psych instead of using, so Lunar Paste Colour Psych instead of using the Gold Rush one. And that's what, was it Gold Rush? Oh man. I'll remember, it's the more orange one. Had I have used the other one, it would have been so much better. Okay. So now I'm using the thickers. These are Happy Life. They're Paige Evans and they are little foam letters. Absolutely love them. I do move these around a couple of times and just to get them right, but they lift right off and then glue back down. Not a problem at all. These are really, really good. If you see these going out cheap anywhere, trust me, buy them, because they're half blue and a half white. So you get one full sheet of white and one full sheet of blue. You use them. I didn't think I'd use them as much as I do, and if I find them on sale anywhere, I buy 2, 3, 4, 5 packs of them because they're so handy. Because I love a wordy title, you know. So we're getting close to the end here. I've been around and I've fixed the gold. Now the gold all matches and it's the same gold, it's the same black. Once I get this title down in the right spot, it needed to be uneven, and I think that was about it. No, that's right. Of course, I can't leave well alone. Now, this is the KITSCH Flamingo watercolor pencil, the Distress watercolor pencil, and I'm just going around and I'm just adding a little bit more pink on top. It's the same color, so it's going over the Distress Oxide ink of the same color. So I'm not changing anything, but I'm just adding a little bit more so it sort of stands out a bit more. So that is about it. So if you have not liked or subscribed to my channel, please do. We are having a giveaway once we hit 1,500 subscribers. So if you've got any friends or family that enjoy scrapbooking, see, look at that texture. It looks really good. I promise I'll do another layout using this stencil and I'll do it properly and I won't be trying to rush myself. And yeah, so like, subscribe, etc. The giveaway is going to be for all of my subscribers, so feel free to get all your friends over here and help the little channel out. That'd be fantastic. Thank you so much. Leave me a comment below if there's anything you think I've missed or I could do differently. Thanks again, guys. Bye for now.